In the rain-drenched, morally bankrupt labyrinth of an unnamed city, Se7en introduces two detectives who stand on opposite ends of a philosophical divide. At one corner stands William Somerset, a weathered veteran whose decades of service have left him hollow. He is a man on the cusp of retirement, having spent the last 10 years watching his city crumble beneath the weight of nihilism, apathy, and unspeakable cruelty. For Somerset, the city is a lost cause, a place where indifference has become the default state of survival. At the heart of the story, occupying the opposite corner is David Mills. He is young, impulsive, and recently reassigned to this very city. Unlike his counterpart, Mills still carries a spark of idealism. His spirits have not yet been crushed. He still believes, perhaps falsely, perhaps heroically, that goodness can be excavated from beneath the city's gritty, decaying surface. He rejects Somerset's wary cynicism with the fiery confidence of a man who has not yet truly lost anything. It is this innocent, this stubborn optimism, and this flash of naivety that forms the central arc of Se7en. Over the film's runtime, these qualities are corrupted slowly but with surgical precision. Mills' temper, a flaw he wears on his sleeve, is established early on when he hurls obscenities at a photographer, a moment that, in hindsight, carries a chilling irony, as that photographer was John Doe himself. That rage lies dormant until the climax when, after the brutal murder of his wife and unborn child, Mills finally snaps. He embodies the very sin of wrath, executing the villain in cold blood on a dusty road. John Doe, consequently, does not merely die. He wins. He takes the newest white knight of the city and corrupts his soul beyond repair. Doe does not force Mills to act out of character. He merely untethers an inevitable reaction, a darkness that always lurking beneath the surface. Of the three men, Doe is the only one to literally die, but his masterpiece is undeniably complete. To understand why John Doe remains one of cinema's most unforgettable antagonists, one must look beyond his actions and examine the architecture of his character. He is not merely a madman, he is a perfect storm of talent, precision, brutality, philosophical corruption, and terrifying conviction. In hindsight, casting Kevin Spacey as a remorseless psychopath with zero empathy might seem like typecasting. Back in 1995, at arguably the peak of his career, he won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for The Usual Suspect. That same year, this performance was and remains a masterclass in the portrayal of cold, calculated evil. Spacey's John Doe is defined by what he does not to do. For the majority of his limited screen time, his default mode is apathy, and yet he captivates in every single second. He does not chew the scenery, he merely disapprovingly mumbles at its texture, yet he commands every moment with a playful cruelty that only Spacey could deliver. From his agitated, blood-soaked dialogue of detective in the police station, chillingly vivid, flat tone in which he delivers his philosophical monologues, Spacey provides a presence that is simultaneously magnetic and repulsive. He brings a poise, a stillness, and an emotionally empty detachment that makes John Doe, in startlingly little screen time, utterly unforgettable. It is a performance that proves evil does not always shout. Sometimes it whispers. What makes John Doe truly disturbing is not the chaos he creates, but the order he imposes. Many serial killers in cinema are terrifying because of their unpredictability and inhuman chaos. Doe is the opposite. He is dubbed insane by Detective Mills, but Somerset provides the more accurate diagnosis. He said, "Methodical, exacting, and worst of all patient." This precision is what makes his brand of madness so unsettling. He is neither unhinged nor senseless. Every action is executed with a calculating resolve that borders on the superhuman. Consider the sheer willpower required to keep this sloth victim bedridden for an entire year, keeping him alive just long enough to serve a purpose. Consider to the audacity to walk into a BDSM shop and order an ungodly contraption for the last murder, navigating the underworld with the confidence of a businessman. Or consider the grotesque passion of force-feeding an obese man bowl after bowl of tomato soup, returning to the supermarket mid-project, presumably reeking of decay, to buy more supplies, all with a smile on his face. This level of commitment to his twisted ideology is terrifying. At every stage, he is not running from the police. He is toying with them, leading them by the nose until the moment he chooses to surrender. And even then, in words no officer ever wants to hear over the radio, John Doe has the upper hand. David Fincher is a director known for pushing boundaries. He is the mind behind Gone Girl's champagne rape scene, Zodiac Unshakable Dread, and that utterly disturbing line about grad school. So, when a director like Fincher decides that a scene is too ungodly to properly depict on screen, the audience knows it must be profoundly fucked up. The last sequence in Seven is that scene. Yet, beyond this singular moment of restraint, Seven never shies away from its brutal intention. It is among the greatest horror films of all time, partly because of how disturbing it is without ever crossing the line into senseless gore. The sloth scene stands as a monument to this balance. It is both an all-time brilliant jump scare and a classic example of a prosthetic department going off the rails in the absolute best way possible. The sight of the victim, Victor, gasping for air after being mistaken for a corpse, is seared into the collective memory of cinema. All of this relentless cruelty, from the torture of the sloth victim to the psychological devastation of the climactic box, stems directly from John Doe. He is the architect of every nightmare, the sick, relentless bastard who positioned himself as a messiah of misery. The most devastating impact of John Doe is not the bodies he leaves behind, but the soul he destroys. Returning to the central dynamic of the film, one sees the arc of David Mills as tragedy orchestrated by Doe. Somerset, the aging detective, has already accepted the darkness. He is immune to Doe's game, but Mills is the target. His innocence, optimism, and naivety are the very qualities Doe seeks to extinguish. Over the course of the film, Doe systematically dismantles Mills' life. The early display of temper when Mills hurls obscenities at the photographer is a warning sign that Doe reads like a blueprint. In the climax, after the murder of Tracy and her unborn child, Mills' rage is no longer a flaw. It becomes Doe's final tool. When Mills executes the villain in cold blood, he does not become a murderer. He becomes wrath. John Doe's victory is absolute. He takes the newest white knight of the city and corrupts his soul, proving that his ideology, that everyone is capable of sin, is correct. He does not even need to force an out-of-character reaction. He simply untethers an inevitable one. Of the three, Doe may be the only one to literally die, but his masterpiece is nonetheless complete. Perhaps the most unsettling aspect of John Doe is that he believes he is the hero of his own story. The greatest villains are not those motivated by greed or simple power, but those who are convinced of their own righteousness. Doe does not see himself as a serial killer. He sees himself as a prophet. He is a messenger for God, exercising divine will on earth to punish the apathetic masses. This delusion is articulated in his lectures to Somerset and Mills. With a warped, sickening logic, he argues, only in world this shitty would you call these people innocent. The brilliance of Andrew Kevin Walker's screenplay lies in the uncomfortable truth embedded within Doe's madness. While no rational person would agree with his extreme method, his critiques are rooted in regrettably commonplace prejudice, the disgust toward obesity, the contempt for sex work, and the anger at apathy. He takes these ugly undercurrents of society and elevates them to a religious calling. Unlike Hannibal Lecter, who possesses a self-wherewith, or the titular character in M, who is plagued by regret, John Doe has no self-awareness and no remorse. He is pure evil, motivated by an undying fanatical belief that he is pure good. This conviction, rooted in ideals that some tragically still hold, is far, far scarier than any thief stealing pennies from a piggy bank. It is the scariest thing of all. A man who believes with every fiber of his being that he is saving the world while he destroys it. In the end, John Doe's legacy in Se7en is not the seven bodies, but the single, shattered soul of David Mills. He is the perfect villain because he is a mirror held up to the darkest potential of humanity, a prophet of a false god whose sermon ends in silence, dust, and haunting question of whether. In the end, John Doe was right all along.